Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today I'm going to be talking about a day 1 FAQ specifically for Kill Team, Pariah Nexus. I'm going to be discussing what is a day 1 FAQ, because heads up, that's poor terminology that the community as large uses, because it's not actually a frequently asked question, that's just what we call it. Also, what is the day 1 FAQ going to have? What can we expect it to have? What do we need it to have for the game to continue to function? And then also, what do we want the FAQ to have? I suppose at some point I'm going to discuss the probability of us getting it. That'll be the first thing, I guess. Now, of course, you've already had your first hello at the beginning there, but if you are a subscriber, I would like to give you a big double hello. Yes, that sound right there, which for some reason on my computer is titled Pirate Win music. I hope you enjoyed that. That's your receipt for a double hello. If you want a double hello in the next video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, engage the algorithm who is our Lord and not Saviour. What is a day 1 FAQ? First of all, it is not a day 1 FAQ. So the reason it is called a day 1 FAQ is because it will be released on the same day as Pariah Nexus releases. This terminology, of course, comes from Warhammer 40k, where a day 1 FAQ is really, let's stop saying FAQ. FAQ, of course, means frequently asked questions. Sometimes that does happen, but the reason we are using that is because generally when 40k Games Workshop releases an FAQ, it will also release an errata, which is what this really would be, but FAQ is easier to say and for some reason has stuck in the public consciousness easier than errata has. So a day 1 FAQ is really just a rules drop. Whatever those rules may be, whether they are errataing things, whether they are answering questions, we just refer to all of that. Any PDF rules released online that you do not have to pay for, a rules drop, which is what it actually is, we just call an FAQ. And of course, day 1 means released the same day as. For those of you new to New Games Workshop, a day 1 FAQ is something that they have been doing quite frequently. And also, I'm going to put the proviso in right now, we don't actually need this day 1. Sometimes what Games Workshop will do is, for example, in 9th edition when they released the Space Marine Codex, what they did was they did give a lot of day 1 FAQs, just a rules drop, where they changed how a lot of the Space Marine wording, keywords, works, and also something that we're hoping to get in Kill Team, a change to a lot of weapons for other factions as well. For example, they changed the range on all flamers pretty much across the entire game that was called a flamer, even though the rules for the new flamer were only actually printed in the Space Marine book. They changed every single flamer to be 12-inch range, plus a lot of other weapons, but if it was called a flamer, it now has a 12-inch range, and so they released a rules drop, errata, FAQ, for every faction saying 12-inch range. So this isn't some crazy idea that people online are having, or that I'm having. This is something GW does. However, and I'm not sure if they actually did it in 9th, but in 8th, a very, very common thing that they did was 2 weeks after the release of the Codex, they would then release an actual FAQ, or an errata, who knows, 2 weeks later, which was addressing any of the main issues that would have been found by the community in the first 2 weeks of playing with that new book. So, for example, if there was a poor phrasing that everybody was playing wrong, they would come along 2 weeks later, PDF for everybody, everyone downloads it for free, and saying, hey, this rule, we are telling you how to play it now. Or if there are typos, I think at one point they allowed Deathwatch to take like 30 Terminators in a squad by accident, something like that. So the possibilities in a day 1 FAQ are anything. It could be new data sheets, it could be new weapon profiles, it could be new points costs, it could be absolutely anything. Now, are we going to get a day 1 FAQ? Well, yes. Yes, I genuinely believe we're going to get an FAQ, even if the only thing it says is like everyone that has the weapon with the name Flamer, or Flamers, whatever it is, Flamer, is now 12-inch range. Even if that's all the FAQ says, I do believe we will be getting an FAQ. And when I say day 1, I mean 2 weeks. Obviously, it should be released day 1, but as long as it's released within the first 2 weeks, I'm not going to complain. Because I'm a GW simp. Despite what you might have thought from my previous video, total GW simp, okay? 2 weeks. As long as we get some sort of rules drop within 2 weeks of Pariah Nexus launching, I'm not actually going to complain. There you go. It's not like we can play the game at the moment, so who cares, right? Now, what if we don't get one? Cross that bridge when we come to it, but we're going to get one, okay? I would bet money that we get an FAQ. In fact, I'd even go so far as to say that there's no reason to think that they won't. We already know how they operate for 40k, and with this change that they are giving us, it is a carbon copy of what they did for 40k 9th edition. So it only stands to reason that we also get the same thing for us. Basically, we can get whatever they gave 40k and just remove the units that don't exist. This isn't difficult. I'm sure we will get one. However, what are we going to get in the day one FAQ? So I think there are what we need to have and what we want to have. Let's start with what we need, because I think this is actually a pretty easy question. Okay, there are going to be changes to heavy bolters for all factions. There are going to be changes to flamers for all factions, but note that a burner isn't a flamer, so orcs, sorry. Melters also need to have their rules updated. Again, when it comes to melters, we're only actually looking at Imperial here. This is a huge nerf for Xenos. You might be thinking Tau and Eldar will get their melters updated, but they don't have melter guns. They only have fusion guns, which are not melters. If you check their 9th edition rules, they do not have the new melter rules, which is actually a huge nerf for them. And we should also be getting the power sword upgrade, and it is just a straight upgrade, +1 strength, really strong. That's going to be going outside of the Imperial factions to Banshees, which is actually going to be really strong for them. Now that's going to be a huge boost to every Imperial faction and somewhat to Heretic Astartes as well, but Xenos and Chaos in general, nothing for them. I think it's also really clear that I personally believe that we should be getting the core rules from 40k, like the core rulebook released for free to Kill Team. I've already made an argument for that in the previous video, not going to do it again. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but literally everybody wins, including Games Workshop, if they do that. So I don't see why they wouldn't, to be honest with you. We also need something that I haven't talked about for a very long time. In my Discord, you know, a year ago now, there was a collection of every single question that the community wanted an answer to. This was everything from really basic to actually quite complex to, did you mean this? Did you mean that? Blah blah blah. It was every question that anyone has ever asked was compiled into a single thread in server, like channel within my Discord server. We know that the play testers for Kill Team took that entire thread and forwarded it to the GW rules team, like in an official manner, not some random kook or emailing, you know, the Games Workshop press email or something saying, can you please look at this? The people that actually work with GW directing it to the rules team, and we know we had confirmed the rules team. I can't remember who wrote it. I can't remember the names of any of the people that wrote Kill Team at the moment, but we know that they specifically had these questions in their hand. So we have that confirmed. We were expecting an FAQ in the past because they've had this for a long time now. I think they were originally forwarded it in May. I want to say May. So we're up to a year now. But if they knew that they had 9th edition coming up and they knew that they were going to be releasing Pariah Nexus, you can kind of see how they didn't get around to doing it. So we know that Kill Team's getting releases again. Okay, let's hit them with a big FAQ, answer every single question. Let's do this. I'm going to be honest with you, if they don't answer those community questions, obviously they don't have to answer every single one, but if they don't answer them, I'm actually going to be rather perturbed, if I may, because they've had that for a long time. All of them were genuine questions, like they were all things that people within my rules channel had big debates over, even if they appeared silly, perhaps. They all genuine questions. And if GW doesn't answer them, I'm going to be really... But again, there's no reason to think that they wouldn't answer them. And so that's what we need from a day one FAQ. Keeping in mind a day one FAQ means a 2-week FAQ. So, but if they do wait 2 weeks, I would also expect FAQs for Pariah Nexus to be in there as well, because I'm sure there are going to be miswordings and such. Now, what do we want from Pariah Nexus. Obviously, you could wishlist and you could say that we want every single 9th edition datasheet given to us now, along with a full reboot of datasheets and points cost and weapon profiles before 40k gets it. But that's just not realistic. Let's not do that, okay? We got to think of realism here, guys. I think the big thing is, are all Marines going to get 2 wounds? We know already that Adepts Astartes are getting 2 wounds. We know they're getting their 2 wounds. We also have had it essentially confirmed, I believe. I want to say fully confirmed, but essentially confirmed, that all Marines, so Grey Knights, Death Guard have obviously already had theirs, Thousand Suns, all Heretic Astartes, etc., are going to be getting 2 wounds in 40k. They haven't been FAQ'd them yet, though. So when the day 1 FAQ came out, not giving, you know, Grey Knights, Heretic Astartes their 2 wounds, a lot of people were like, well, what does it, why have you, like, that would be so easy to fix. Why haven't you done it? That it's mind-boggling. Who knows what GW is thinking. They've even had playtesters for 40k 9th editions say, we advise them to do this. And GW just said, nah, don't wanna. So is Kill Team going to get that first? I genuinely think we need it. I can't really see anyone playing Heretic Astartes at the moment. When you could, like, what are you going to do against T5 3 wounds? Or I don't know. But because of how Kill Team has a smaller unit selection, I feel like it's more viable that we could put the 2 wound thing into effect now. Just get it out of the way. It would also be a really big teaser for the 40k guys to see, oh hey, my faction has already gotten their 2 wounds. This is really cool. Let's play some Kill Team. It might make the community take Kill Team a little bit more seriously as they see, hey, they get their rules a little bit earlier than us sometimes. Let's pay attention. And that's obviously good news for everybody if that happens. I genuinely think, though, even if we don't get that, because, okay, GW might not want to give Kill Team anything before Kill Team, I think the big issue is actually going to be for Death Guard. They've had their codex release. Are they just going to be ignored? Because I can't imagine the Death Guard getting their own Kill Team release, like just a solo Death Guard Kill Team release. It would be a single data sheet. That's not going to work. And then you have to think, okay, we know Drukhari are coming up in, what is it? In like 2 months. Are Drukhari going to get their changes, which I believe is an extra attack to Cabalite Warriors, +1 armor, and their Venom Cannon changes, the Shredder change. You know, it's essentially a full reworking of the Cabalite Warrior and the Witches, but are they going to get them now? It really depends what Games Workshop's future release schedule is for Kill Team. We just don't know. If they are planning to make releases for Kill Team a regular thing now, and every 3-4 months we get a new two faction box, then okay, we can wait, right? But of course we don't know. Until now, Kill Team has always been its own thing. It's been a closed environment. We had all of our data sheets and then they left us alone. I liked that. I didn't have this huge FOMO, fear of missing out feeling every time something released. If I wanted to buy stuff for 40k, I could. If I was interested in the model, I could buy it. But I didn't have to buy things for Kill Team, which was really nice. Unfortunately, Games Workshop isn't really telling us. There's no roadmap for Kill Team. There's no, hey, this is how we're releasing for you now. There's also no, hey, you are ever going to get a release ever again. We just don't know. It's a little bit crazy, actually. But anyway, in my mind, everything is on the table with this Pariah Nexus release. Games Workshop could really ingratiate themselves to the community. They could hit us with all these FAQs. They could hit us with FAQs for datasheets before 40k gets them, which would entice not only Kill Team players, but also 40k players. They could give us everything. Like, everything is on the table here. We just don't know what they're going to do. Or they could really make this lackluster. They could give us, well, okay, I'm not even going to imagine that they don't give us an FAQ. If that happens, I'll make another video on it. Let's just assume that won't happen, right? But I genuinely believe I mean, I mean, look, the minimum possible requirement is update Heavy Bolter, Flamer, Melter, Power Sword. That's it. If they just give us that, then it'll be like, okay, good for Eldar, good for Admech, you know, good for some other people as well. The 12-inch Flamer is really big for Gene Stealer cults, etc., etc. Fine. That's the minimum, and if that's all they give us, that's fine. I won't really complain. I will complain about the lack of potential that they fulfilled, but whatever. Or they could really go all out. They could fix every single rule issue, because they have every single rule issue. If they answer all of those, there are literally no rules issues left apart from the ones that they will create in Pariah Nexus. It's all on the table. It could be a huge day, or 2 weeks, for Kill Team. And I really hope that they do, obviously, because I'm a Kill Team player, right? Anyway, that's kind of the end of it. What do you guys think we're going to get? Be realistic. I've said what we need, what we want, and what we dream, right? What do you think we're actually going to get? Okay, we all know what we want, but what are we actually going to get? Take your guesses in the comments below. If I had to guess, I'm a pessimist. I mean, I call myself a realist, and that's probably true, but that generally comes out as pessimism. I think we're going to get the basics. I think we're going to get Heavy Bolter, Flamer, Melter, Power Sword upgraded for all factions. And I think that we're going to get a few questions answered. I don't think we're getting everything answered. I don't think we're even getting half of the questions answered. Okay? I think we're getting a few questions answered. A token effort. I think that's realistic. But what do you guys think we're getting? Anyway, thank you very much for making it all the way through today's Day 1 FAQ thinkings, I guess. Welcome to all the new people. You've gotten in at a great time. There's already an existing product for you to go balls deep in, and you're just about to get a new release, so this is really cool for all of us. But if you've made it to the end of this video, you are the 8 to 14%, which I know thanks to my YouTube algorithm analytics. Not many people actually make it to the end of the video, but those that do really help my channel. Honestly, I'm still a very small channel. Kill Team isn't some big thing. You know how it goes. And I just like talking about Kill Team, if I'm honest. So really helpful. Again, a like, a comment, all that good stuff. But of course, you need something in return. And let's assume that whatever I just said in the video wasn't enough for you in return. And that means I'm going to give you a coveted triple hello. Thank you very much. That triple hello right there, you add that alongside your double hello, you invest that. In a few years, you're going to be making dividends. It's stonks. 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 Anyway, I hope you've had a good day. I hope you continue to have a good day, and goodbye.